Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Success by Hangout. Hello, guys. Lovely to have you all back.
Oh,
Let's start a new
same
series,
to you,
new
same to
year.
you. Yeah.
Yes, it's been a while since we've done these, so bear with us. Right, we're going to talk about coming back tonight because it seems quite fitting as we've been off air for a while. So, but before we go into all that, I just want to just everyone, just introduce yourself briefly. Just tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing. So, can I start with you, Kieran? You do a little intro for us.
Hello, yes, my name is Kieran. I'm from Bristol, and yeah, really glad to be back. Kind of missed the hangouts, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to be back with a big tribe of
Absolutely.
looking forward to tonight's session.
Thanks, Kieran. And Johan, you do
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
Hello. Yes, I'm from Stockholm in Sweden, and yeah, it's very nice to be back again and talking about interesting stuff that can really help people that are thinking of starting an internet lifestyle. So that would be awesome.
Oh, it's great to be back, isn't it, Johan? Lovely to have you. And Dave?
Yeah, hi, it's Dave here. I'm from Glasgow in Scotland, where it's actually snowing outside at the moment.
Oh, wow, you've got the snow.
Congratulations.
Yay!
It's not the good snow, it's the kind of crap stuff that's not really lying or anything. It's not any fun. But it's good to be back. It feels like we're coming out of long hibernation at the moment. So
It does.
Yeah.
that's what we'll talk about tonight.
Yeah. And Kat?
Yes, hi. I'm in sunny Bordeaux, actually, where it's just well, the sun is shining. Well, not right now; it's night time, but not like Dave, that's for sure. No snow around here.
Yeah.
Very, very mild. We did have a cold spout, but glad to be back.
Yeah.
And Jerry, where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm in a little village called Trevornan, which is on the Welsh-English borders in Shropshire. So literally a stone's throw. I'm in Wales, but I'm on the English side. And yeah, we've had a bit of hail this morning, and it's just rubbish, really. It's very dark. But yeah, but I'm so glad to be back. I have missed the hangouts. So that's why I thought, right, you know what, it's new year, new start. Let's get the crew together. We did decide to break because a lot of us had a lot of projects, a lot of clashing of diary dates and things like that. So we decided to have a break for it all. And I just want to talk about, our experiences and what it's like, how it feels to come back to something after you've been away for a while. And for me personally, I had to have a break. And just to take stock of where I'm going, where I'm at, my mindset with my business, with my home life. And sometimes I think you can just go through the motions and not really knowing which direction you're going in. So for me, I needed to take a time out, and I made a really conscious decision that it's time to get back and it's time to get things moving forward. So for me, that's the reason why I've come back, because I thought, right, okay, what have I missed? What do I need in my life? What do I need for my business? And the Hangouts is one of the things that I did really miss doing, and I got a lot of value from doing them myself. And hopefully people are viewing these Hangouts getting a lot of value too. So I thought it was just really important to get back into it and keep this going for what will hopefully be a very, very good, successful year so far for me personally and in business as well. So with that sort of theme, that topic, can anyone jump in and share their experiences about coming back, or they had to make some decisions of what to leave, what to bring back, how to start again, or things? That's the sort of things we're talking about this evening. So would anyone like to share experience or anything like that? Kat, have you got anything you can share with us this evening?
Yes, thank you, Jerry. It was very interesting to find your point of view on that. I thought that was very, very interesting points, and we all go through them. And like you say, we go through what we think is just emotion, and sometimes we do need that break, that stop to say, well, no, it wasn't emotion. Actually, it was really a good life force for our business, for ourselves, so that the business goes forwards. I think that's very valuable lesson, and that's one way we can look at it. And I think I want to welcome and congratulate everyone to being on this hangout, because it's so easy to just not be bothered to come back in. It does take a lot. I mean, you're on this journey and you're thinking, oh yeah, well, I'll just learn how to market, put a couple of widgets on my website, do a bit of this, and I'm away with the fairies, really, no worries. And in fact, well, I can only speak for myself, and various people I do sort of train on. I can't say train, but coach maybe for the mindset, my growth. I have really taken on to that saying that we go through absolute and utter hell, because we have these demons locked inside of us, and they have to come out. Otherwise, you can't do internet marketing. You just cannot do it well properly. I mean, you can, do any other sort, I guess, I don't know, but I certainly couldn't do any other marketing but honest, true value marketing. And like Jerry was saying, sometimes you just have to stop, take stock of where you're going, what's happening. I came back a little bit before. I was looking at, you do always plug in, you'd go onto there were some things that I never stopped, like the Founders Call once a month. You're like, oh, I can manage that, so you get into the Founders Month, and I think that's brilliant. That was always so chirping. I think it was just after Founders Month or something that I was on the YouTube page of, we have this 90-day video challenge to get to be, handy with camera. And there was Natasha Hazlett, a woman that I really admire. I met her in Dallas a few years ago. And she was saying, how she's starting again to get her list going and to get all her team doing this. And I don't know, her spirit was so uplifting, and I was maybe in the right time. I just whipped out my phone and did a video then and there and put it on. So, I'm now in the 90-day challenge again. And yes, it's tough. Yes, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? I know how to do this, but yeah, get a video out every day. It gets you back into the swing of things. So I'm now blogging a little bit more, a little bit more conscientious, even though I'm still doing a whole load of other things that I've got on to doing with. So yeah, I think to get back into the swing of things is really, really brilliant. And I think that we all go through these very emotional crises now. Obviously we women tend to be a lot more emotional than the men, I believe. I think that's just the way it is. But the men, let me tell you, they go through the same stuff. I mean, just listen to any of Jay Kubasak's talks, webinars. He's gone through it. So, and he takes you by the hand, and that's why you feel you have to go through it. Well, sorry, I have to. I can only speak for myself, obviously. So let's hear your take on it, Dave, now. I love your mirror, by the way, Dave. I have to say, whatever it is behind you, I think it's lovely.
That's actually
Awesome.
It's Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yes. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
Looking after
guitar hero.
Jimmy looking over my shoulder every moment of the working day. Yeah, coming back. I think of it more in terms of coming back after that whole kind of Christmas break and that whole January thing. I found this when I was an employee, when I worked in business development. It's the time of year on the kind of run up to Christmas, and then the month or so after it is really, really difficult to just get back into the swing of things, because everyone seems to have just gone into hibernation. So you can fall into the trap of just thinking, well, nobody's really interested, until the end of January, so I'm going to just let the business, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. I didn't do that. I never do that, because the business is just now part of my life. I don't treat it, it's not like work, or I don't feel about it the same way as I did when I was an employee, but you still are influenced by what goes on around you. And I think particularly this sort of time of year, there still is that kind of vibe where people are really just now starting to kind of go, okay, it's another year, and those are the kind of people that we are in a position, I think, to help, because it's that time of year when a lot of people maybe look at making some kind of change, and it is the kind of time of year where I think they really should. Otherwise, before you know it, it's February and then it's March, and you're just doing the same thing again, for another year. So yeah, I think coming back, if you like, it is all about just coming in really strong. I was just listening to the second of Stuart Ross's podcasts today, just before we came on actually, and he was talking about clarity, and I guess that's kind of similar to what we were talking about, what you were talking about, Jerry and JCat, to some extent, that you have to really, if it's a case of coming back, you've maybe taken some time away from the business or from whatever else in your life, it's a good time to kind of establish some kind of clarity about what you're going to do in this year, or next month, or over the next couple of months. So I guess that's my kind of thoughts on coming back. I don't really feel as if I went away, but everyone else seems to have. So I can relate.
Thanks, Dave. What about Johan?
Yes, I think that this journey I have learned a lot about mindset. I think the business is still the same, and we have learned that we need to have 10 leads a day. I made a big sale, but I made it without having that 10 leads a day, and I didn't have a really great targeting either, but I had the intention of doing something different. I had the intention of attracting something, and that I think made the sale. And I think it's so important, this mindset thing, that you don't try to sell everyone. You sell, when you do something from inspiration, I've learned from Joe Vitale, then everything starts falling into place. And when you feel stressed, when you don't have the results, I think about you, Jay Kuba's success, is that don't beat yourself up. It's very easy to beat yourself up when you don't have the results and you feel stressed and so, but stress never gets you anywhere, does it? I mean, if you take it easy and accept what is, then you release energy, creative energy that you can use for doing the work that you need to do. So for me, it has been very much about when I felt not doing the things I need to do, then I've worked on the mindset, and then I've thought about, okay, what did I say, and did I hear it the first time? I made a blog about I'm thankful, grateful that I'm a slow learner, because I will look again. I don't go for the first impression. I look again. Is it something I missed here, or did I really get what I said? So I found, even though it's great here in SFM, they say great things, I realized that I cannot always receive it. So they say also that you should go for your best judgment and find what works for you. And I found other things that work for me. Other people said it in a different way, and then I listened to it. Even though they say the same stuff, I listened to it different. And that, I think, have helped me in the mindset, and that, I think, can help other people also, that it's so much not about the system, but about the mindset you have, how you look at your business, what intention you have, because it's all about being your best version of you. And to give the best version of you, then you do it from your own inspiration, release it, and destroy the patterns, so to speak, destroy your old patterns, because your patterns have got you here. What will get you here will never get you there, they say. So I think it means that we need to change the patterns. It's so important, and then work on the business simultaneously. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, right. Well, moving along then, Kieran. We can see you have your lovely dogs there.
Yeah, lovely dogs here. He's had a big day, so he's sleeping. He's doing some snoozing. Luckily, he's not snoring. Yeah, it's 2015 has been a big year. Last year was great, but moving forward into this year, I've just really had time to look at my goals, what I want to achieve this year, what I achieved last year, and over the time that we've had off, it's been a good opportunity for me to be able to sort of reflect on what I achieved last year and what goals that I set myself. So this year I'm more able to push towards what I want. and it's quite funny because I find that the goal posts kind of change each year as we achieve more, or when we set our goals. I find that goal posts actually change. So what we want one year is great, but it changes from the next year, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's just an opportunity to be able to really think about what I want to achieve this year, and then really go for it. And I kind of like what Johan said. It's all about changing the pattern. I mean, you get set in a certain way. I mean, just in the last month, I've been changing everything around in my home, the actual environment that I'm working in, my home office when I get home from my job, has changed completely, considerably, and it's a different environment to work in, and it's keeping changing. I feel almost refreshed just having a change in my home study, in the way everything's set up. Just having the house clean, just having everything just nicely set around you. Having a clean environment is really important, and I really find that that's helped as well. I remember listening to, I think it was one of Jay Kubizak's, one of the webinars he'd done, and he mentioned about just having a really clean environment around you is really important for your productivity. And I've had a massive cleanup. I mean, the whole place has changed, and I feel the benefit from that already. So yeah, I'm really hoping that's going to push me as much as I feel is positive effects it has already. So yeah, that's been a big bonus for me lately, and yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on.
Yes, sorry to cut you there, Kieran, because I do remember you had some Facebook posts on that. I'd like to. Can we have a little bit more information on that? Because I think that's really, I mean, hearing you now and just moving through, I think if you could take us through that, that'd be, because I think there were bin bags from what I remember. So
Yeah.
take us through that. What was the spark of that?
I kind of think I'm a bit of a hoarder. I'm a bit concerned that I'm a bit of a hoarder at heart, and I've had to. I'm surprised where it's all come from. Literally, the amount of stuff. I mean, when I moved into this place, I didn't have that much, and the stuff has just seemed to build up and build up. My day job's are plumbing, and I keep on keeping all these little fittings and clips and stuff like that. And before you know it, you've got bags and bags and bags of stuff, right? And I basically had a big clear out. I just was on a low tolerance, absolutely no tolerance. Went through all my stuff. I mean, I've been collecting clothes, and some of the stuff that I've been throwing out. I must have been like I could have been 16. I must have been 16 years old when I last wore this stuff. You know, so this stuff it's just been hanging in my cupboard, just kind of collecting dust, and I just wanted to throw it out and have a fresh start this year. You know, and this is stuff that I don't use. I haven't used it and haven't worn this stuff for years. So it's just, what's the point in keeping it? And I got this mindset now where I'm throwing stuff out, and it gives way to having something else, a new path, a new it opens up the opportunity or the possibility for new things to come into my life. So yeah, that was really part of the big change at the start of this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, Dave, you said that you'd also changed your office around. You were just saying.
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
So what
I've
brought
got,
that on?
I guess it was just again around this sort of Christmas time, and I just thought I just want to completely change this place and make it a much more productive space for me, because I had a lot of distractions in here. I'm, I suppose, quite lucky. I've got quite a big room that is available for my use. So I've got a green screen set up over there. I've got some lights and camera stuff. I like to do video, but I also had I've got guitars and amplifiers and stuff in here. But I also had a great big 24-track mixing desk that took up half of this desk, and it was just, I don't really do very much music production at the moment because I'm concentrating on other things, but it was a constant kind of distraction to me. It just kept sort of saying to me, why aren't you using me? You know. So I said, well, I will use you another time, but not for a while. So I put it in a bag and put it under the bed. But I also, where you can see me now, the last time we did these hangouts, and it's strange because I notice from what I see of everyone else, everyone's background has changed since we last did these hangouts. I've actually turned 180 degrees because my desk was facing into a wall. It was right against this wall that's now behind me. So I sat when I was working, looking at my computer, and just had a wall behind me. So I've turned it around now, and I'm out from the wall a bit, and I'm now facing the windows, so I can actually see out, and it just feels like from a psychological point of view, the wall's behind me. I've got open space in front, and I've found it being a really, really good move. I find myself much more productive. I feel like I'm in a creative space and a workspace when I'm in here. So yeah, it's been a good move.
And did you feel a lot freer as well? Because that's how I felt once I've managed to clear out all this stuff. I just felt this sense of like freedom almost. I could breathe again in my own space. It's quite a feeling.
Yeah, and it was a lot of I actually sold a lot of recording equipment as well because I'm just being realistic. I'm probably not going to ever do very much. I'm going to still always play a guitar for my own amusement, but I'm never going to be seriously recording music again, not for a while anyway. So, like you were saying, for you it was clothes. For me, I had millions of effects and studio recording equipment and live recording equipment and microphones and all that kind of stuff, and I just haven't used a lot of it for years. So I just thought, get rid. You know, I've kept the bare essentials. There are some things I will never part with. But I've stripped it down to the bare essentials, and it feels much better. Feels like your mind's less cluttered. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. That's exactly how I felt. Those 6 pin loaders on my you're out.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook stuff.
big sense of just it's nice. It's nice to be able to, just have what you need and that's enough. Yeah, as they say, less is more. I think it really is the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Kat, you're saying I know you've moved, so you're in a completely different environment too, aren't you?
Oh yes, I've had a complete life change, but yes, yeah, I've gone from a big country house to a tiny flat in the town, and I love it because I don't have to take my car everywhere. I can go everywhere on the bicycle, so I'm really fit and healthy. Sounds a bit bizarre because like leaving the country to become fit in the town, but that's the way it is. And I have found that I've got into this habit actually of taking the bicycles when I drop the kids off, and I go on the bike and I go along the Garonne, I go along the river, and I have this I don't know how many kilometers it is. I don't really know. But I do have this little workout, and it's like, this is getting too, it's getting too small now. I'm gonna have to become bigger, and whereas before I used to really like to, when I was in the woods, to not listen to anything and just really try and quieten and get into that 0 decibel almost, zone. I now, well, as I've, like everyone else, I've sort of woomphed a whole load of stuff that I obviously could not fit in here. I'm like a sponge, and so all the time I have my earphones on and my, because audio tape is going, and I'm constantly listening to everything and anything. Whereas before I was in the countryside and I was just listening to the nothing, the stillness, because there weren't that many birds even. So yeah, it's completely different game here. It's really, really nice, and to be actually in a town and see people is totally lovely. So but well, yes, my drawback is I'm back to working on the kitchen table, as it were. So it's not really a drawback because I believe in feng shui, and I think I used to watch the Hangouts, and I would think Dave is got no back support. Your back is not supported, and where you were working, and when you've done that, you're now, you know, against the wall, and your back is supported, and you, like you said, you just, and I think it's we're all getting aligned into a certain energy level, which is why we're all together. If I may be so bold, to go on forward to that next step, you know, and it's why we've been able to all get back together and move on forward, because we have this isn't the first time I sort of stopped and started again, and it's, you know, it's really nice this time because we've all done this, like this one big leap. There's no I've done this leap, you've done, you know, we've all done this sort of leap. I can't really describe it, and I think Jerry was saying it very well in the beginning, that, you know, can't explain it. You just have to stop and, you know, put things aside and okay, and move forward. I don't know, Jerry, what's your take on this?
Well, for me, Kat, I had to stop because I felt as though I was just going through the motions. I wasn't really feeling productive and seeing the results. So for me, it was a conscious decision to say, right, tell you what, instead of just flogging a dead horse, you know, just doing the same things over and over and over again, and not really having that, I suppose, that passion, that fire that I had before, and I was trying to chase that emotion. But when you go through this process, you realize that you can't grab what has been in the past. You have to find new energy level, and find an alignment really with everything that's going on in your life, so you're at that stage where you can just naturally flow into some, that you're not forcing it, it just naturally comes to you. And it got to the point for me with these hangouts especially, is that I needed people like yourselves around me to have that extra energy. And I think it's no coincidence that we're all here today. As you say, we have that energy, and you're naturally drawn to people who are like-minded, who are on the same journey, as that they want to progress to a higher energy level and to succeed. And you don't realise, and I didn't realise, that it takes an awful lot, as you were saying, Kat, to get rid of all those demons, those barriers. You have to unload, and it doesn't matter if you have to do it emotionally, or if you do like the guys are doing, physically moving stuff, getting rid of stuff, offloading stuff. I mean, I've done the same. I've moved my house around, funny enough. I was smiling when the guys were saying, it's like, oh, I've moved offices. So do you know what? I've actually ordered myself a new desk. I've ordered myself a new light. I've made some space. I'm getting my husband to move my room around so I can get, and I was just put a smile on my face because we're all doing exactly the same things at the same time. And I don't think that's no coincidence that, as you're saying, Kat, we're all drawn together because we're all at that same level and just want to elevate this and keep going, keep moving forward. So yeah, I can totally resonate with what everyone has been saying. So that's my take on it, and that's why I want to talk about it tonight, because it has been a while since we've done this, and we just got together last week. I thought, I didn't want to just do it, because I think if, as you say, if you leave it, I think, oh, we'll just do it next week, it may not happen in the way that it did, and all of us were busy doing things, but suddenly we're all back together again, and it's just fantastic. It just goes to show, when a group of like-minded people get together, this is what happens. So thank you.
No, totally, and I just wanted to say, I wanted to say something, I've just completely forgotten it.
Go on, Kat.
No, it's gone.
No.
Go on.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Johan, did you want to add anything to what we've been talking about, or?
Yeah, I think I agree. It's the energy level that we learn that to handle it different when we've been for a while. We get the vision. It's not so easy in the start. You may look at it in a certain way, but then you realize after a while that, okay, I maybe didn't get it. Maybe I should look again in a different angle. Maybe how much do I apply what I have? How much do I really appreciate what I actually have learned? How much do I know what this is really worth? How can I get paid more for being me? Like that questions we can ask ourselves. And what does it take to make that happen? And then that is a new way of setting things up. And then I think we may look at things differently when we get experience that things actually work. When we start to look at it different, when we start blogging, then we are giving our version of how we look at it, and people like us find that and resonates with that. And at the same time, when we blogging, we are learning ourselves on a deeper level, and then we can provide more value, so to speak, in the future. I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I liked your analogy, Jerry, of us emotional and the guys physical. That's very funny. I hadn't seen that at all, and I just that's what came back to me, and I just thought, yeah, that's wild, absolutely wild. That male and females are very different. I would just like to say that in this new town, it's what's really lovely about it also is that France is very much behind in the digital sort of world, and so Bordeaux is it's a very, very old English hangout, so to speak. You know, it was English for ages, and I've been reading up on the history about it, and it's like they would put, you know, the French king had to be here because of this, that, and the other, because it's, you know, French town. But they were really against it for, you know, hundreds of years. And this is why I feel so at home here. And everyone who comes like, oh, the architecture is so English, don't you reckon? And I'm like, is it? Oh, yes, of course. But I really do love that you know, and it's such a tiny town compared to, you know, I was in Paris before. It's huge, and then in the forests. So this is really lovely, and you can never get lost. Well, I haven't as yet got lost. And so, as far as the digital world is concerned, you just got to put yourself on the mailing list. I mean, I have the mayor of the town inviting me to these amazing conferences where we have the CEO of Alcatel come talk to us. And I do remember he came, and so it was a, you know, an early morning breakfast type thing. So we went, and we were listening to this guy talking, and he was saying, which is, you know, amazing for the French, because this is what I say, but they just look at me as if I'm some sort of, you know, and the French are very much hierarchy, you know, the boss is the boss, you're the second boss, and you're the third boss, and you're the sort of, you know, kid in the first. And I always come along and sort of, you know, well, we're all like this. We're all, you know, it doesn't matter who's the boss. It doesn't mean I don't respect the boss's position, but, you know, I speak to him. He's a person just like me, etc., etc. And I've always sort of been a sort of, you know, and this guy from Alcatel is saying, you know, we've got to stop all this. It's got to stop, and we've now got to have it, you know, brainstorming and all this. And he's just saying, you know, we've got to enroll a whole load of new, younger people, and, you know, oldies like me are out, and blah, blah, blah. And all these businessmen, CEO, these are presidents of companies, and what have you, they're all looking, going, really shocked. And then we all get up when it's finished, and you can see every single person is dying to go and speak to this man. He's there. I mean, you can touch him. And the journalists are all waiting because they've got, you know, their rendezvous at such a time, and then it's that one, and then it's this one, and it's all pecking orders. And I'm like, I'm damned if I'm not going to go and talk to this man. Anyway, so I go zooming down, and I said, well, would you mind if we spoke in English? Because obviously he's in the States most of the time, and, you know, traveling, so he speaks fluent English. And because then I have terrible trouble translating these technical terms that they all use in English anyway. So I thought I'll just, you know, short circuit this, and then, you know, I just couldn't have all these eyes on me and judging me. So there we are talking in English, and I'm like, yes, I really want to have the French, like you were saying, with the you know, the hierarchy and this, that, and the other. I'm talking about my, you know, SFM type stuff that I've been learning, and how, you know, the websites, blah, 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 blah. And he's going, oh yes, we'll try this, try that, and you can see the journalists have got, you know, steam coming out their ears, going, my God, you know, how can she? Anyway, and at the end of it, when I think back on this, I'm like, goodness me, what guts. At the end of it, I said, oh, can we do a selfie? And I'm just laughing. But anyway, I get to go to these amazing. So I got this selfie with, you know, the CEO, the president of Alcatel. I forget the other name, but anyway. And it's constantly like this. So once a month, I get to meet this fadanga, you know, man, lap up all this information, and I'm on the mailing list, and it's just lovely. And so I got this selfie with this guy, and it's just really fascinating and interesting to know, you know, that this is all starting. And I got this finally someone, you know, braved all the elements and came and said, well, you know, I'd like you to have a look at my website, you know, because I've prone. The French spend like 10,000 euros for the website, and then they have no marketing budget. And I'm like, a website, that's like, oh, I don't know, 500 euros the year, and then you've got a whole load of marketing budget. You know, let's get some ideas flowing. And so I was talking to this guy, and I did an audit on his site. And from the training, the gold training we had a couple of years ago from the SFM, and I was just looking at this, and I was thinking, oh, God, I produced this. You know, I did this work on this site, this guy's site, and it makes you have a totally different angle. Because yes, the blog is lovely, yes, to do this, but when you've got no advertising budget, it really does. It sort of doesn't really move along as fast as you would like, or you don't really. You don't really have the, you know, like Jerry was saying, you don't see the results. I mean, for years people were saying, where are your results? And I'm like, well, God damn it, man. I mean, I'm speaking now. You know, I'm saying this, I'm doing that, I'm standing up, I'm talking to people about marketing. Could I do that 5 months ago or 2 months ago? No, I could not. This is a result, but people only want to see money. That's all they care about. And I think that we've all, you know, past that. And sorry, I do get very passionate about what I say. No, I'm sorry, but I just think we are, you know, we have so much to give these people, and they're just so blind, and it's so sad. And I'm always trying to find ways to be creative and see that. But we are always having results, and I must admit. I found that out one day when I was doing my whiteboard stuff, and I was doing this, you know, whatever I was doing, and I wrote results down, and I just stood back and went, my goodness. I went and got all my friends from the forests, and they all came in, and I said, look, do you see that word? Because they kept asking me for results, you know, my ex-friends, we should say. But, you know, and we constantly have results, but you do need to have reassurance of yourself. And that's, I think that's why the mind is so important. And as Johan was saying, you have to be detached. Johan has done some amazing videos. I would really recommend you go to see some of them about, you know, expectations and what have you. And we all move forwards, and I think that's really brilliant. So yes, so all this came from the analogy, Jerry, of the men doing the physical stuff, and we were going through the emotional stuff. So I'm on a high. I can't. I'm just flying.
No, that's wonderful, Kat. Thank you for that story. That I was wondering where it was going, but yes, it was. No, that was fantastic. It's your energy this evening, Kat, is just wonderful. You know, it's just on a high, as you say, and I think we're all pretty on a high in one way or another. You know, busy sorting our lives out and coming back to, you know, what we're going to do. And as Dave was saying with Stuart Ross's podcast, I just listened to that as well. Is having that that clarity of exactly what it is you want and exactly what you don't want. And yes, the guys are definitely more physical, and women, I'm afraid, we are more emotional. We can't help it. It's just where we are. And we do think definitely, and we have to deal with different issues. And you know, that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, you know, people ask for your results. They say, well, actually, from a personal point of view, I've gone mountains. Thank you very much. There's no way a year ago I could have done this. I mean, you know, guys, you know what transformation I did with the 90-day videos. And had I gave this up, if I was the person I was before SFM, I would never have come back. Because you know, looking at my past, I've always started something and not finished it, whether it's a project, whether it's a training course, whether it's, you know. So when you mean results, and what results do you mean? I mean, if you want money, well, yeah, I've made this amount of money. Well, you know, But as you say, for me, on a personal level, it's about what I can give and what purpose I have, and and that's what I have been figuring out for the last 3 months or so, to have more of a clearer picture of where I'm going for 2015. Because in business, especially, the first 90 days of the year is so crucial, because that is results of what happens to the end of the year. And if you've got certain goals that you want to achieve by the year, that yes, you have to put a lot of planning in and work it backwards. But I like you, Kat. I'm so passionate about this mindset and being in the front, because I know, just from the experience I've had so far with SFM, if I'm not in that right mind space, if I'm not in that space, I'm wasting my time, because I'm just putting stuff out there that I'm not particularly happy with, and people probably won't read anyway. So what I'm doing this year is that everything I do, I want to be absolutely, in love with it, and nurture it, and create it, and I'm going to get results from that, and the people will resonate with me. People will be attracted, like we've all been attracted to join together. There'll be other people out there who will be attracted to you, and then the results, as in the monetary value, will come along. It just takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time. But as you said, Kat, I applaud everyone here for coming back, because it does take a lot of guts and a lot of courage, really, to come back and carry on in anything that you do. And especially if you don't get the results, especially if things haven't gone the way you expected, and you have to adjust your expectations, is a very, very difficult and sometimes painful thing to do. But that's my take on it. Does anyone want to add or jump in? Dave, do you want to comment on what we've been saying? Or?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, we were talking before we went live about the webinar. I don't know if anyone else saw it last night, with Stuart Ross and Gideon, about it was basically about a new YouTube product. Just when you're talking about results, because I've never seen anything like this in my life, both from a kind of emotional and results point of view, because this is a guy who Stuart has met through his interest in the moment in YouTube advertising. He sees this as being the next big traffic generation strategy. So that was really how that came about. And he'd met this guy Gideon, who's a kind of specialist on YouTube video advertising, and set up a webinar and also a promotion for this product, because Stuart's going to work with him and bring some of these products into SFM for all of our benefit. But at the end of it, the guy was just so humble. This Gideon guy, I don't know him at all. When I found out he was the other guy, I looked into some of his stuff, and he's got some websites out there, and you're looking at it and thinking, there's nothing there that kind of I couldn't do, really. He's very, very passionate and very knowledgeable about what he's done, and he's built some businesses, several businesses. He's done quite well. But as he was saying in the webcast, it's taken him 8 years, and he's really struggled at times to get traffic and leads and so on, as everyone does. It's a business after all. But last night, due to the kind of association with the community, and I guess Stuart, if you like, kind of what's the word? Mentoring him or presenting him to the SFM community, he made such a great case for himself and the product. The product is utterly amazing, but he made I won't name numbers, but he just made an astonishing amount of sales from just being passionate about what he's doing. You can tell from every word he says that he has a complete passion for teaching people how to build their businesses through this strategy, and it's not the money, it's the passion. But at the end of it, when he was looking at all the results coming in, this is happening live, he was speechless. He actually was in tears, and Stuart had to sort of take over because he couldn't speak anymore. And Stuart's just going, well, I told you this is how the internet works, basically. That was the kind of expression you get from Stuart. Guys, I told you this is how it works. Nothing to me, 50, 60 grand in a night, no problem. But this guy was in tears, and I'm going, I've never seen anything like this in my life. If I ever had any lack of belief or doubts that I could ever sort of reach those kind of heights, squashed, I could that's one of the most astounding things I've ever seen. So yeah, results just come through consistent effort and focus and clarity, I think. And that's a perfect example of it.
Absolutely, David. It sounded amazing. Yeah, it's just incredible. Johan, did you want to mention something?
Yes, please. I thought about one thing. I don't know who is looking now, but if you are thinking about starting with SFM, then one advice I will give you is getting good habits from the start. Like I have watched every marketer that has been successful, that they have some rituals, and one of them is gratitude. If you spend 15 minutes every day in gratitude, then you get this shield that protects you from negative energy outside, because not everyone will like what you do. That's reality. And you get more of what you're asking for. And one thing I have discovered on the way is that the results are not going to give you what you think it will give you, because when you're working for something, you think that will give a feeling, but actually it's the opposite. You have to be, do, and have now. And one thing is that nothing, absolutely nothing, has to change for you to have that happiness and feeling that you think you need to have when you have reached your goal, reached your results. Then you think you will be very, very happy. You can reach that goal now, and that vibration will attract to you the success that you are desiring. So that was two advice I would to give to anyone that's in the process, maybe starting, and yeah, think of this.
That's really good advice, Johan. Thank you for sharing that. That's great points you made there as well. And it's, again, I think it's all about changing habits, and in implementing new habits, and you are changing your habits naturally by entering into a business online from home, because it's a totally different environment, it's a totally different discipline, you've got totally different rules. And one thing that I've taken away, which I'm going to take on in this year, is also implementing new habits, but having that accountability for yourself. And just hold yourself accountable, so at least you complete 1 or 2 tasks a day if you're changing very, very slowly into something completely different, or you're having to start again if it didn't work out. And yeah, I think what I've learned from last year, because it didn't go well in business terms the way I wanted to, not as as I expected to, so this year I'm having to right, okay, that didn't work out, what's going to work out, and just work out a strategy and work out an action plan. But also, I think what I've taken away for me is being accountable, really being accountable, of turning up, showing up, and actually do what you say you're going to do, not just write it down, but actually make sure those actions you do. And with any habit changing, bit by bit, all of a sudden it becomes natural, but it does take time. And I think for me, I'm one of those people who have an idea and have a great expectation level, and it's just bringing that down, because I wanted it done like yesterday. I do have this real unbelievable amount of pressure that I put on myself more than anything, that I have to be this certain way, that this certain person at this certain time, and I must have these results by that. I set myself these tasks and I don't reach them, and I think, well, no, actually I've got to be more realistic in terms of that. But then you have this conflicting, if you want to expand and get out, you got not be realistic. So you have all these conflicting messages, and it's just homing in these down. Is not to overthink things like I've been doing in the past, and just 1 or 2 tasks a day for me is what I'm going to do, possibly 3 or 4, and then just build it up slowly. So again, it's like starting again, but it's just taking it from another point of view and just looking at it from a different standpoint, and just also just removing yourself from the situation you're in. I find a lot easier just to reduce the stress level straight away, and just look at that. This is the habit I've been getting into, and it really works for me personally. I mean, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another, but that's how I've managed to get turn myself around and actually say, get back onto this and get back into this, and knowing and believing it's actually going to work. And it's really hard concept. I even find it hard to believe that I know that I'm going to achieve my goals. But in order to do that, you've got to take little steps first. And that's taken me quite a while to get that grasp, that concept, because it's a totally different way of thinking and working that I used to. So if you're new to this, you're new to this industry, you've got to not beat yourself up, as you say, Johan. You just really got to get more, be more gentle and be kind to yourself, and that's what I'm working on. Kieran, did you want to jump in or say anything?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like learning any new trade. You know, you just got to chip away a little bit at a time, a little bit every day, and you get better. You know, and that when I started doing plumbing, I was rubbish when I first started. You know, it took a while. It took a long time. You know, someone had to show me what to do. You know, someone had to, you know, I had to learn, and you only learn by your experiences, and you only learn by basically failing quite a lot of times. You know, and that's what I'm finding with doing this. You just have to persevere. You know, a successful person has failed or have failed a lot of times. You know, before they've got it right, before they found the right thing that's worked for them. And I mean, even today, I mean, I'm putting in, I'm doing some improvements around the house there, and I put in a door. I put in a new door, and I haven't done plastering, and plastering's all new to me, and it's just like learning a new skill, and it didn't go right today. I used a mix that was a bit old, and before I knew it, the plaster had gone rock hard. And in 5 minutes I couldn't move the trowel. I had to like throw the lot away and start again. But you know, I'm not. I think before I would have been really frustrated by that. But doing this business has kind of taught me, don't worry about that. Just try it again. You know, just have another go. And I think that's what's really helped me. Whereas before, I think my whole attitude has changed towards you know, what it takes to be successful. I mean, this guy, 8 years. This guy who was on that webinar last night with Stuart Ross. I seen Stuart Ross's status last night saying what a humble guy. I mean, just think how many times he must have failed before he's found the right thing that's worked. You know, it's just all about keeping on going and just persevering, and you know, you're going to find what works for you in the end. So, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, can agree more.
Wow, it's so good to be back, guys. I love having these thought process and sharing experiences. It's just fantastic. And as we're nearly up to the hour, I just want to go round everyone just to wrap this up and how to get hold of you all and things like that. So, Kat, going to start with you. The last few comments and how we can get hold of you.
Yes, there's always the Facebook page, Success by Hangout, obviously. That'd be nice. You can reach all of us on that Facebook page, Success by Hangout, but I do have a personal website, katbayan.com. Thank you.
Great to have you back, Kat. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Dave?
Yeah, it's been great. Brilliant to connect again, and just fantastic. It's been great. I hope it's been useful to anyone that's been watching it. You can get me at Success by Hangout group on Facebook, or my website is davemenzies.com. All my social media contact stuff's all there, and you can even get me on Skype from that website.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. Johan?
Yes, you can reach me at Success by Hangout website, also Facebook, and my authority blog, goktopOnlineBusiness.com, and also Skype is there. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Johan. Kieran?
Yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and great to see some familiar faces. And yeah, you can catch me at kieranjones.com. Ready, just reach out and.
Thank you, Kieran. And yeah, and I'm Jerry Hayes, and you can catch me on our Success by Hangout page on Facebook, or you can catch me on joehayes.com. And I have to say, it's been wonderful this evening. Thanks for coming, guys, and starting this off again. And I'm so excited for future hangouts with you guys. Thank you so much. And that's
Well, I have to fly in from New York, obviously.
okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers. See you next time.
Catch you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.